Welcome, everybody. It looks like the technology gods are on our side this morning, so welcome to Jubilee Circle. We are glad to have you tuning in this morning live via Facebook and YouTube, so welcome to everybody. I am Candace Shalou, the spiritual director here. Let's go ahead and introduce the band. Over here to my left, I have Tricia Fopp on guitar, Michael Reisman, who will walk into the shot here, instrumentalist extraordinaire, Beth DeHart, our drummer. I always forget your name. Keith. Keith Edwards, who I love so much, and Janice Mewborn on banjo. So welcome, everybody. We're so glad that you're with us today, and we are continuing our Via Transformativa theme of go with the flow, because that is what we are still all doing, just going with the flow, and we're exploring how we can just allow life to unfold naturally and move us along the stream of this divine river of love. Over the past week, we've seen some protests going on. Protesters are gathering in states such as Michigan and Minnesota and Ohio, even in the Carolina that is north to us, demanding that states reopen because many of them believe that this coronavirus pandemic isn't all that real, isn't all that serious. Of course, many protesters hedged their bets by wearing masks and other protective gear as they violated 6-foot social distancing rules. So, just in case. As any good American ought to be, I guess, I am all about free speech. I'm all about our right to gather and our right to protest. But as a spiritual person, I'm a little bit wary about this idea of belief, especially when belief is fueled by politics or wishful thinking or even perfectly understandable levels of frustration over this whole ongoing situation. Belief is not just the underpinning of all religious systems, it's the underpinning of our entire lives. We act on whatever it is we believe. If we believe the government and medical experts are telling us the truth, then we see it as our duty to practice social distancing and stay-at-home orders. If we believe that the government and medical experts are lying, then it's easier to take up your sign and your mask, just to be safe, and join the protest down at the Capitol building in whatever state you may find yourself. Belief, it can be a slippery thing. It can soothe us and comfort us, or it can disturb and outrage us. Jesus was very clear about this idea of belief. It is not something we can have within this illusion. When he spoke to Thomas, that disciple who doubted the resurrection until he physically touched Jesus' wounds himself, Jesus pointed him beyond the sight of his bodily eyes to the vision that we all have available to us right here and right now, a spiritual vision that sees through this realm to the truth about our lives. When we can believe, there's a spider right there. I believe that spider. No, I didn't. He's flying in the air currently. When we can believe that there's only one of us here, that there's no us or them, but we're all in this together, that's when our belief will transcend this bodily realm and restore us all to the unity that is our true spiritual health, because that is the kind of world that will heal us and will make us all say, oh yeah. Please rise wherever you are, and if you are able, and we will do as we always do, we will remember the 4 elements, the earth, the fire, the wind, and the water. Usually I have a visual cue. Rain is coming, yes indeed, be prepared. And we orient ourselves by the 4 directions to be in this time of sacred time and space.
Let us turn and face the east.
Thank you.
The sun rose this morning. It did it without anyone believing in its ability to do so or not. Even those who still want to believe in a flat earth experienced the sunrise. Their beliefs about the earth, the sun, or anything else didn't stop the sun from rising. Remind us, Holy One, that your world doesn't turn on our beliefs. Instead, it turns by your love, by your grace and compassion. May we give thanks in this day and in every day for your love that makes the sun to rise no matter what we believe. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the south. As we experience the dawning of spring in our region, the season of summer continues in another part of the world, whether we believe it or not. There is so much beyond our perception, beyond our comprehension in this world, Holy One, and our belief or disbelief of any of it doesn't change its existence. Help us, Holy One, to hold our beliefs lightly, to recognize the fallibility of our fragile minds, create in us compassionate and loving hearts, ready to believe all the good we may see or not see in this world. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the west. As the sun sets and the stars rise in the night sky, Holy One, help us to release our belief in the darkness. Even as we are surrounded by things and situations we can never fully understand, release us from the belief that darkness is necessary. Help us to believe only in the light, only in that peace that can be found when we withdraw our belief in the darkness. Shine your light brightly within us, Holy One, and help us to recognize that light no matter how strongly we believe in this present darkness. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the north. Our hardened beliefs, Holy One, can often make us cold, like the frozen tundra of winter. We ask that you blow the warmth of your Spirit onto our frigid beliefs and thaw us with your love, so that we may become the welcoming spirits you would have us be in this material world. Help us to let go of any beliefs we may hold dear that leave us cold to the suffering and pain of others. Turn back toward the center. I invite you, jubilants, in this time of uncertainty to examine your beliefs. Are they helping you? Are they making you a more compassionate and loving person? Or are they spiritually distancing you from others and from God? Now is the time to let go of any belief that makes you cry, any belief that makes you feel alone, any belief that would urge you to abandon others. Now is the time for a renewed belief in our ultimate connection to one another and to God, even as we are physically distant. Now is the time to believe that there is more going on than we can ever know or see, and in that belief, find the strength we need to say, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So I invite you to be seated if you're, or not, stand up and sing. We're going to open with a song I wrote a few years ago called Willing, and it is based in the Course in Miracles idea that all we need to change this world, all we need to become saviors of this world is just a little willingness, willing to see things differently. 2, 3, 4. Look around, what do you see? Hatred, violence, and treachery. Our eyes veiled with tears, gripped by our fears. But look beyond the fear and see the beauty here. Invite love to lift the veil, set our souls a sail. I am willing to see this differently. I am willing for my mind to be free. I am willing to see this differently. I am willing for the miracle I need. Look deeper and you will see people in their egos, fast asleep in this illusion of pain. We willingly remain. We can't awaken from this dream. Things are not as they seem. Darkness will become light if we're open to new sight. And be willing to see this differently. I'm willing for my mind to be free. I'm willing to see this differently. I am willing for the miracle I need. Underneath it all is divinity, present in the trees, flowers, you and me. Fear is not our reality. Love is the answer to all we see. Let's sing that chorus, everybody. I am willing to see this differently. I am willing for my mind to be free. I to see this differently. I am willing for the miracle I need. I am willing to see this differently. I'm willing for my mind to be free. I am willing to see this differently. I'm willing for the miracle I need. I am open to the miracle I see. I am willing. Oh, yeah. All right, if you're standing, you may be seated. If you're lying down, even better. All right, so welcome everyone again to Jubilee Circle, and we hope if you're wherever you're tuning in, it is wonderful for you. You're having a wonderful morning or afternoon or wherever you are in the world. I know my preview this week had someone from New Zealand watching. So hey, everyone around the world, welcome to Jubilee Circle this morning. We are a spiritual community offering inspiration, affirmation, healing, and service to live abundantly, love wastefully, and awaken to our true divine self. We are a progressive and inclusive community, and we are affiliated with the Jubilee community in Asheville, North Carolina. We're influenced by Hebrew and Christian scriptures, but we read that through the lens of A Course in Miracles to put a little metaphysical twist on it. And we ground ourselves in something called creation spirituality, which means that we begin not in that dark place of original sin, but in that bright place of delight, that original blessing where God created this amazing infinite universe, this blue boat we ride around upon it, within that universe, all the creatures upon it, and finally, in that controversial and still much debated move God created, we weird and wonderful and generous and beautiful and upstanding and outstanding and frustrating and weird and maddening and frustrating and recalcitrant human beings. And God looked at all of that creation and didn't go, whoopsie. Nope, God looked at all of that creation and went, that is very, very good. And God continues to delight in all of creation and invites us to do so as well. Oh, yeah. So just a couple of announcements. Coming up next Sunday, we'll be here live on YouTube and Facebook again as we continue our Via Transformativa theme of Go with the Flow, and we'll use some more original tunes to explore the flow of hope. And here's some good news for us. I contacted Peter Mayer, and he's thrilled to have us use his songs in our upcoming celebrations. So, yes, thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter Mayer. So expect more Peter Mayer in the coming weeks. We're gonna be using some of his songs, and Tricia says she's working on songs. I just wrote a new meditation song, so lots of new music and interesting things being inspired by our forced onlineness. I just made that up. Anyway, so there will also be a talkback after celebration on Zoom. Those links can be found on jubileecircle.com or on our Facebook page, Jubilee Circle. So check us out there and join us whenever this celebration is done for our talkback session on Zoom. Hear these wise and holy words. This wise and holy man.
From the Jesus story, John chapter 20, beginning at verse 26. A week later, his disciples were again in the house, and Thomas was with them. Although the doors were shut, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here and see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it in my side. Do not doubt, but believe." Thomas answered him, "My Lord and my God." Jesus said to him, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have come to believe." From A Course in Miracles, chapter 22. For an unholy relationship is based on differences, where each one thinks the other has what he has not. They come together, each to complete himself and rob the other. They stay until they think that there's nothing left to steal, and then move on. And so they wander through a world of strangers unlike themselves, living with their bodies perhaps under a common roof that shelters neither, in the same room and yet a world apart. A holy relationship starts from a different premise. Each one has looked within and seen no lack. Accepting his completion, he would extend it by joining with another, whole as himself. He sees no difference between these cells, for differences are only of the body. Therefore, he looks on nothing he would take. Think what a holy relationship can teach. Here's the belief in differences undone. Here's the faith in differences shifted to sameness. And here is sight of differences transformed to vision. Reason now can lead you and your brother to the logical conclusion of your union. From the Muslim mystic Hafiz, come and touch my eyes. Return, that to a heart wounded full sore, valiance and strength may enter in. Return, and life shall pause at the deserted door, the cold dead body breathe again and burn. O come and touch mine eyes of thy sweet grace, for I am blind to all but to thy face. Open the gates and bid me see once more. Night is with child, hast thou not heard men say? Night is with child, what shall she bring to birth? I sit and ask the stars when you are away. O come, and when the nightingale of mirth pipes in the spring-awakened garden ground, in our heart shall ring a sweeter sound, diviner nightingales attune their lay.
These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Whew. We're going to get a Peter Mayer song in between here, where we just stand and sing. Next week, we're going to do something. We're going to do some Peter in there. All right. But this week, moving on to our meditation. So today's song is one I wrote back in February of 2017, and it's based on a presentation by an author and theologian named Brian McLaren. And he did this whole presentation about how we structure ourselves in society, how we build power structures. And it's usually some form of power over others, power separate from others, or dreaming about when we have the power, how we're going to use it over other people after the revolution, right? And all of these structures, he points out, feature an us and a them. And McLaren says, the only form of power that Jesus ever taught was that it's some of us for all of us, that there is no us and them. And so I wrote this song based on that idea, and it's called I Believe. 2, 3, 4. We are stronger together. We know truth when we share our own. We are blessed when we bless each other. And in kindness, peace is sown. We must build a bridge of love. Tear down the walls of hate. Invite everyone to the table to see the world that we create. I believe, I believe, I believe that there's no us and them. I believe that it's some of us for us all. Now, my favorite apostle is the one we actually encounter in today's Jesus story, that guy we know as Doubting Thomas. I've always thought that he was the grooviest apostle of all, firstly because he was apparently somewhere else when all of this empty tomb brouhaha took place. I mean, who knows where? Maybe he was down at the local tavern drinking away his anxiety. Maybe he was at his boyfriend's house for a little consoling. Who knows? Maybe he was just tired of seeing all of his friends desert and betray Jesus, and he was just trying some social distancing for just a little while. For whatever reason, he missed the resurrection, and he missed Jesus' first appearance to the disciples. So when he heard their tale about how Jesus had appeared to them in a locked room, and he was there and talking just like he was alive, Thomas rightly called shenanigans on all of that. Thomas was the practical disciple. He's a realist. He wasn't going to just believe anyone's account of anything until he could see it for himself, until he could put his hands in Jesus' wounds and experience all of what they had told him firsthand, so to speak. A week later, Thomas is back with the guys when Jesus shows up again. And he invites Thomas, go ahead, man, touch me. Feel for yourself how totally resurrected I am. And Thomas believed. And I get Thomas. I have been a doubting Thomas for most of my life. People tell me how great things are, or things that I've never tried, and I always go, well, I doubt it's that good. People tell me about a place they've gone and how they enjoy travel, and I say, well, I doubt I'll ever do that. People tell me about their experiences with a God that condemns and hates people that supposedly created, and I would always say, I doubt that God is real. Sometimes doubting can be a darn good thing. Doubting can save us from a lot of heartache. Doubting can save us from simply just accepting someone else's story or experience as fact until we can actually go and investigate for ourselves. Doubting can help us be better informed. It can help us make wiser choices sometimes. But Jesus, there he goes and throws some cold water on our happy doubt parade. Even after old Thomas is a doubter no longer, Jesus tells him, it's great, Tom, it's really great that you believe what you see. But those who are really blessed are the ones who can believe without seeing. Whew. My doubting Thomas side comes roaring back at that one. The scriptures do not record Thomas's reaction to Jesus' statement, but I suspect it sounded a little bit like, what you talking about, Jesus? I mean, that's a pretty low blow to old Tom right there, right? I think we have just witnessed a Jesus burn. Yo, Tom, it's great that you believe because you see me, but everybody else who believes and they don't see, those are the blessed ones. But Jesus isn't talking about adopting a blind faith. He's not asking us to just believe what anybody says about him, or just to believe what anybody says about the world or anything else. Instead, he's talking about a different kind of sight altogether. In Greek, what Jesus is saying to Thomas is this: you have used your physical eyes, and they confirm to you that I am standing before you right now. You can touch me, you can feel my wounds, but you're seeing me through the eyes of this illusion. You're demanding that I enter this illusion with you, and then, only then, will you recognize me? Jesus is saying those who are truly blessed are those who see the world through the eyes of the divine, because their belief in the physical world has been transformed from mere perception into knowing. They no longer need to perceive this bodily world, because all they can see now when they look at this world is the light that appears and lives within everyone. Those who no longer see through their physical eyes, those who have not seen the ego's world illusion, are the truly blessed. Because now all they see is a world of light, a world of non-duality, a world where there is no us and them, a world where we are all one in the mind of God. They are blessed because now they know that their function in the world is to simply be a channel for God's love, for God's light, and to use their sight to help us all understand that reality means there is no us and them, because it's some of us for all of us. Breathe deeply. 2, 3. There is no chasm too wide, or a hatred so great that we can't bridge together. Bring in love instead of hate. There is no heart so blind that it cannot see the light that shines so deep within, loving all with all its might. I believe, I believe, I believe that there's no us and them. I believe that it's some of us for us all. Now, A Course in Miracles would tell us that what Thomas is engaging in is something called an unholy relationship, not just with his other disciples, but with Jesus. In an unholy relationship, we are always expecting something from those with whom we are in the relationship. Our reading today says unholy relationships are based on differences, where each one thinks the other has what he has not. They come together, each to complete himself and rob the other. They stay until they think that there is nothing left to steal, and then move on. And it sounds so harsh, and we think, of course, we would never enter into such relationships, but we do it all the time. And we do it because it's how the ego world is run. Relationships here in this illusion, they're transactional, whether they're business, personal, interpersonal, or whatever. We're always connecting with other people in an effort to get something from them, whether it's love or money, a job, a date, a good recommendation, even just exact change after a purchase. We're always networking. We're looking to hook up with the people who can hook us up with other people who can help us get where we want to go, or whatever the next rung on the ladder is that we're aiming for. The ego world, it is one of competition, of getting ahead and staying ahead, and we use other people to get what we want. In the ego's world, there is always an us, and there is always a them. And Jesus knew that Thomas's doubt was a marker of an unholy relationship. Thomas wanted something from Jesus, even if it was just physical proof that he was up and walking around after hanging from a cross just a few weeks earlier. Blessed are those, Jesus says, who don't need to see the proof because they just knew. And they still know that resurrection is a fact of life. Of course Jesus is around. Jesus is always around. Why? Because Jesus represents love. And no matter how many times you crucify love in this ego world, it springs right back up from the tomb, walks around like nothing happened, because nothing did happen. You cannot kill love, no matter how convincing the ego's argument is that you can. Resurrection, then, is all about relationship. It's all about forming holy relationships. The Course tells us a holy relationship starts from a different premise. Each one has looked within and seen no lack. Accepting their completion, they would extend it by joining with one another as whole as themselves. They see no difference between these selves, for differences are only of the body. Therefore, they look on nothing they would take. Blessed are those who have seen. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe, Jesus says. That spider is back. Dude. Bye. Oh, he's hanging.
He's interested.
Oh. There we go. All right, dude. All right. Now he's going to crawl up my leg, and it's going to be worse in a minute. But I'm trying to have a holy relationship with this spider, people. I want nothing from him other than to be over there. All right. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe, Jesus says, because those are the people who know for certain that their faith is not in vain and that there is no us in them. But it's some of us for all of us, since there's really only one of us here anyway. Indeed, those in holy relationships don't have to believe in anything anymore because they've been assured. They're already whole. They're whole in themselves. They don't need someone to complete them or prove their love for them. Instead, they join together in wholeness where no one lacks anything. And together, they extend more light, more love into the world. In this time of uncertainty, jubilance, it is so easy to forget that every single one of us is already a holy whole. In this time of disruption, when our egos are searching frantically for any proof of security, any shred of solid evidence that everything is going to be all right, we're like Thomas. We want to see it with our physical eyes. We want to see that economy coming back to life. No fear about gathering with those we love or even with strangers. We want to see evidence that the world is going to go back to some sense of normalcy. And none of us can see that right now. I don't care what they say from their podiums. None of them understand. None of us know. What's it all going to look like? We're like the disciples in that locked room. We don't know what the future holds. And for that reason, now is the time for us to cultivate holy relationships. Holy relationships with ourselves, with those around us, with the divine within each of us and all of creation. We must take this time now to examine how we have competed with one another, how we have used one another selfishly for our own means. Likewise, we have to reflect on how we have used and abused our natural resources and how we can instead create a holy relationship with creation in our new future. When we step into holy relationship with everything and everyone around us, the Course tells us our belief in difference is undone, and our sight, our doubting Thomas demand for physical proof with our physical eyes is transformed into real vision. In this state, we no longer need the physical sight to believe because we already know without a doubt, that even if it looks like total chaos out here all around us, we are already whole. And when we work for the good of all, that resurrected love will always appear, even if we remain locked away within our ego. Breathe deeply. Let's sing that chorus together. 2, 3, 4. I believe, I believe, I believe that there's no us in them. I believe that it's some of us for us all. Now, this is not a blind faith I'm saying that Jesus is calling us to adopt. The faith that Jesus is espousing is indeed a knowing that goes beyond this puny perception of the ego. Even amidst the certainty that God's vision gives us, however, there's still a mystery to be found and to be savored. Night is with child. Has thou not heard men say, writes that Muslim mystic poet Hafez, night is with child. What will she bring to birth? Even if we are certain that the universe is always conspiring to bring about the best for everyone, none of us can tell the future. Not one of us still knows what the night will bring forth. Right now, things aren't looking so good for humankind. A virus has chased us all indoors. Many have lost their jobs. Many have lost their physical security. Many have lost their very lives. No one knows exactly how long this chaos will last or what kind of world will emerge when it's all said and done. Night is with child. What will she bring to birth? While the future may be a mystery, jubilants, we are not at the mercy of our circumstances. We have a choice in what the night finally gives birth to into this world. If we begin now to forge those holy relationships, to reimagine a world where what we hold in common matters more than our perceived differences, then we can begin to shape that new world. Then we can be the midwives who bring this new creation of unity, love, peace, and joy to birth into this world. When we create a world within ourselves, based on a holy relationship with ourselves, that we are whole within ourselves, and not give in to this idea that there's an us and a them within, that idea that we have a good and a bad side, then we'll be less likely to see a dual world outside of ourselves. Building a new world, jubilants, it is an inside job. This is the time of resurrection for us all, when we get to choose whether we are love resurrecting from this tomb, or whether we're just the same old fearful people who went into isolation a few weeks ago. Who will we be when this is over? Will we be agents of resurrection, or will we just come back with the same fear? Return, Hafez urges, that to a heart wounded, full sore, valiance and strength may enter in. Return, and life shall pause at the deserted door. The cold, dead body breathe again and burn. Oh, come and touch mine eyes of thy sweet grace, for I am blind to all but thy face. Open the gates and bid me see once more. Jubilants, when our wounded hearts are touched by the holy, and we remember that we are already in a state of wholeness, then our blind eyes will be opened. We will receive that holy vision that believes without benefit of the physical eyes and all that evidence that will always deceive us. When that sweet grace of holy relationships take root within, the gates will open, night will give birth and release what Hafez calls the nightingale of mirth, pipes in the spring-awakened garden ground. In our hearts shall ring a sweeter sound, diviner nightingales attune their lay. Our future is a mystery, jubilants, but we are the ones who can plant the seeds right now in that spring-awakened garden ground. We can plant those seeds not just believing, but knowing that whatever the night gives birth to in the next few months, in the next year, who knows? Whatever it is, if we are preparing the ground now, what happens will bring a sweeter sound, because we have been given a new divine vision to create a world of love and unity, where it is and shall always be some of us for all of us. And when we give birth to that new world, no us and them, but some of us for all of us, that's when the whole world gets to say, oh yeah. 2, 3. I believe, I believe, I believe that there's no us and them. I believe that some of us for us all. Your silence will not save you. Sing and raise your voice. We must come together. There is no other choice. We are one in the spirit, one in the mind. Let us join our hearts together, leaving no one behind. I believe, I believe, I believe that there's no us and them. I believe that it's some of us for us all, that it's some of us for us all. Oh yeah. All right. So I invite you during this prayer time, if you have a candle in your own home, you can light it. We will be talking about some prayer requests when we come together on Zoom. So if you have prayer requests, we can talk about those at that time. But I invite you now just to enjoy some contemplative time.
There's a new territory that I never seen before. Like a fire of transformation breaking through my core, shining bright in the darkness. I can see the light of day. There's a new territory, is my strength along my way. There's a new territory, is my strength, so let us pray.
Well, I pray that you will see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Wake up,
Wake up,
wake up and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Let go,
let go,
let go and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Say yes,
say yes,
say yes and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Forgive, forgive and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Well, I pray you'll see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything.
new territory that we'd never seen before. Like a fire of transformation breaking through to my core, shining in the darkness. I can see the light of day, and there's a new territory. It's our strength, it's our way. Said a new territory, it's our strength. So I pray,
Well, I pray that you will see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. I pray that you will see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Oh, yeah. Tricia, go.
I'm going through puberty.
Sounds wonderful. All right. All right, so now we come to our place where we ask for your support. Everyone in this situation, everyone is facing challenges. Everyone is facing financial challenges. And so I encourage you to support your local restaurants. I encourage you to give money to places that need it the most, areas such as food banks, people who are trying to help other people and keep people fed. So there are many, many good and worthy causes out there. If you have the money to send and support those organizations, I encourage you to do so. I also encourage you to support us as well, because Jubilee Circle, we do have the space that we are currently maintaining and that we wish to keep maintaining. And so if you have the wherewithal to support us in our ministry, we hope that you will continue to support Jubilee Circle. There are ways that you can give, several different ways. You can go to our website, jubileecircle.com. There are 2 different donate buttons. We've added another service called Snowball. Who names these things? I have no idea. Anyway, Snowball the cat, he's a wonderful cat, but this is not that cat. This is a service called Snowball. So there's 2 different donate buttons there. You can use PayPal or Snowball, but we ask that you please support us during this time. We are hoping against hope that in the next few weeks or months we can all come back together and utilize this wonderful and beautiful space that we still have room for improvements on, so to make it even more beautiful for when we all come back together. So as you are contemplating the gifts that you can give, I do want to assure you that giving doesn't mean that you have less. It doesn't mean it's not pie. So it means that you are being part of that circulation, and you are keeping things going that are important to you. So our affirmation for our giving is, God's love has always met and will always meet my needs. I give freely and receive joyfully, knowing that giving and receiving are the same. And we dedicate all gifts that you give to Jubilee Circle to keeping our ministry ongoing, to helping those in our community, and being that resource for spiritual growth here in Columbia and now around the world. So I invite you to join us now on Zoom. Hopefully, if Carolyn is watching, she'll open up the Zoom room for us. And so give us a few minutes. Go grab another cup of coffee or whatever you're drinking this early in the morning, and or wherever you are. It could be later.
That's true.
It's
No
after.
beta juice.
It's after. Right. All right. No judgment. It's after 5 somewhere. So no judgment. But join us. Go to jubileecircle.com. Find the Zoom link. Or they're on Facebook. The Zoom link should be up. And join us for a talkback session. We'll talk a little bit about what we talked about, or what I talked about earlier. We'll get your opinion and your thoughts. So join us there in just a few minutes. And do you want to sing a little bit? We are here. We are here for all of us. Some of us for all of us. Something like that. We are here. We are here for all of us. And we are. We are here for all of us. It is some of us for all of us. And so be safe this week. Follow all of the guidelines, and so we will all be safe. And so hopefully sooner rather than later, we can all come back together here in this space and enjoy our time of fellowship and congregation and communing together. So have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.